In this digital class, we shall continue the story from the lesson The Hundred Dresses Part 2 and Video 1, written by Elfser Esther. We have already studied about this author in our previous video. We shall move on to the next slide. Before a model reading, let me narrate the story briefly. The story about the 100 dresses and Wanda continues here. Wanda does not attend the school for the past few days and thus misses the announcement of her winning the drawing contest. Then a letter arrives from Wanda's father. Addressed to whom? Addressed to the school, stating that his daughter and his son, Jake, will no longer come to school as they are moving to a bigger city where people are not made fun of fun of for their long funny names. The teacher is upset with the class for having hurt Wanda's feelings. Maddie is very uncomfortable and she and Peggy decide to go and meet Wanda. However, students, Wanda has already left with her family and Maddie feels very bad that she could not apologize to her. Maddie then decides to never stand by and let someone do anything wrong. She and Peggy write Wanda a letter, and soon a letter from Wanda arrives, asking the teacher to give the picture of the green and the blue dress to Maddie and Peggy. Maddie is relieved as this means that Wanda has forgiven them. She uses Wanda's picture of the dress as Christmas decoration. Come on, let's move on to the next slide. Let me read it for you. While the class was circling the room, the monitor from the principal's office brought Miss Mason a note. Miss Mason read it several times and studied it thoughtfully for a while. Then she clapped her hands. Attention, class! Everyone back to their seat. When the shuffling means to change position or the shuffling of feet had stopped, the room was still and quiet. Miss Mason said, I have a letter from Wanda's father, and I want to read to you. Miss Mason stood there a moment, and the silence in the room grew tense, worried, and expectant, Miss full of hope. The teacher adjusted her glasses slowly and deliberately, means doing something wrongly. So, dear students, when the class was watching Wanda's beautiful sketches of dresses, what happens? Miss Mason received a note from Wanda's father. So, here Miss Mason received a note from the uh, principal's office. She read it several times. She studied it thoughtfully. Come on, let's see what is there in the letter. Her manner indicated that what was coming, this letter from Wanda's father, was a matter of great importance. Everybody listened closely as Miss Mason read the brief note. Dear teacher, my Wanda will not come to your school any more. Jack also. Now we move away to big city. No more holler Polak. No more ask why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city. Yours truly, Jan Petronsky. Means father of Wanda Petronsky. So, what we understand from this letter, it gave the information about Wanda's leaving the school since they had shifted to a big city. So, the letter tells us that Wanda is leaving the school. The note also had an indirect complaint. What is the complaint? It said, no one will make fun of her name and call Pollack to her because there will be many funny names of foreigners like in a big city. So, Wanda's father clearly made it that both his children Wanda and Jay would not come to their previous school anymore. They would not be insulted. So here we understand even father is also upset and is also sad. So he says they would not be insulted for having their funny names anymore in the new big city as they faced it in their previous school. A deep silence met the reading of this letter. Miss Mason took off her glasses, blew on them, and wiped them on a soft white handkerchief. Then she put them on again and looked at the class. When she spoke, her voice was very low. I'm sure that none of the boys and girls in room 13 would purposely and deliberately hurt anyone's feelings because his or her name happened to be a long, unfamiliar, means unknown one. I prefer to think that what was sad in thoughtlessness, means not thinking about what other people want to. I know that all of you feel the way I do, that this is a very unfortunate thing to have happened. Unfortunate and sad both. And I want you all to think about it. So, the letter, students, the letter had an immediate effect. A deep silence prevailed in the room. Miss Mason spoke in a low voice. She wished that none of the boys and girls in room 13, what was the room number? Room 13 would purposely and deliberately hurt anybody for having a long and unfamiliar name. What was sad was said in thoughtlessness. So it was a very unfortunate and sad thing that Wanda had to face such a situation. So Miss Mason says, what was said? It was said in thoughtlessness. What is thoughtlessness? Not thinking about what other people want. So you have said it without understanding others' feelings. So she expresses her unhappy over this incident. So the whole class was silent. Miss Mason was unhappy and upset. She said that she hoped none in the class purposely hurt someone because his or her name happened to be unfamiliar. And what was said in thoughtlessness without thinking about others' feelings, what others feel. So she expected everyone to think about the whole matter. The first period was the study period. Maddie tried to prepare her lessons, but she could not put her mind on her work. She had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. True, she had not enjoyed listening to Peggy ask Wanda how many dresses she had in her closet, but she had said nothing. She had stood by silently, and that was just as bad as what Peggy had done. Worse, she was a coward, timid. At least Peggy hadn't considered they were being mean, but she, Maddie, had thought they were doing wrong. She could put herself in Wanda's shoes. So the student, Maddie, could not concentrate in her studies in the first period because why? She felt guilty. That's why she could not concentrate in her studies. She had stood by silently when Peggy and other girls teased Wanda, asking questions about her 100 dresses. So she felt guilty. She could not object when other girls teased Wanda. She knew it was wrong, but was too coward, too timid to object to it. So, yeah, Maddie was highly disturbed. Maddie was highly disturbed. She could not put her mind on her lessons. She had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. She cursed herself for remaining silent when Peggy teased Wanda Petronsky. She only stood by silently and said nothing. It was as bad as what Peggy had done. Worse, she was nothing less than a coward, timid. She put herself in Wanda's shoes. Come on, let me read it for you. Please follow my reading. Goodness! Wasn't there anything she could do? If only she could tell Wanda she hadn't meant to hurt her feelings. She turned around and stole a glance, means have a curiosity look, at Peggy. But Peggy did not look up. She seemed to be studying hard. Well, whether Peggy felt badly or not, Maddie, had to do something. She had to find what Petronsky. Maybe she had not yet moved away. Maybe Peggy would climb the heights with her, and they would tell Wanda she had won the contest, that they thought she was smart and the 100 dresses were beautiful. When school was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said with pretended, it's not real casualness. Hey, let's go and see if that kid has left town or not. So Peggy had the same idea. Maddie glowed. Peg was really all right. So we understand that she wanted to meet and tell Wanda. So Maddie wanted to meet whom? Wanda, and tell her that she never meant to hurt her. So Peggy was not that sensitive. Yeah, Maddie is a little bit a sensitive girl. Peggy was not that sensitive and emotional as Maddie. But she too wanted to meet Wanda. After school, both headed for Boggins Heights, where Wanda lived. So, here Maddie decides to find Wanda, not Peggy. Peggy doesn't think about Wanda at all. It was possible that she had not left Boggins Heights yet. So, Peggy had also the same idea. So, after Maddie expressed her willingness to meet Wanda, then Peggy had also the same idea. Both the girls planned to visit Wanda's house. Where? At Boggins Heights. Shall we move on to the next slide? The two girls hurried out of the building, up the street toward Boggins Heights, the part of town that wore such a forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon, drizzly, damp and dismal, wet and sad, expressing a state of hopelessness. Well, at least, said Peggy, gruffly, Miss Roughly. I never did call her a foreigner or make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb. And Gee's expression of sympathy. Look how she can draw. Maddie could say nothing. All she hoped was that they would find Wanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they had picked on her, and how wonderful the whole school thought she was, and please not to move away, and everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. So yeah, we understand that the two girls set out for Boggins Heights. Why? To meet Wanda Petronsky, the place where Wanda Petronsky used to live. Peggy felt that she never called Wanda a foreigner and made fun of her name. So she justifies her action, stating that she never um, called Wanda a foreigner or made fun of her name. She thought that Wanda was too dumb. She praised her even what? Drawing skills. So she appreciated her drawing skills. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get to the top of the hill before dark. I think that's where the Petronskis live, said Maddie, pointing to a little white house. Wisps of gold grass stuck up here and there along the pathway, like him, like thin kittens. The house and its sparse little yard looked shabby but clean. It reminded Maddie of Wanda's one dress, her faded blue cotton dress, shabby but clean. There was not a sign of life about the house. Peggy knocked firmly on the door, but there was no answer. She and Maddie went around to the backyard and knocked there. Still, there was no answer. So, yeah, the students, we studied that on their way to Wanda's house, Peggy had tried to console herself by saying at least she did not make fun of her name or called her foreigner. So, at last, we study in this slide that they reached Wanda's house. So, here the description of Wanda's house. It was a little house with a shabby but clean courtyard. So they knocked firmly on the door but got no answer. So the Petronskis had gone. So we understand that Boggins Heights was a wet and sad place. The white house where Petronskis lived had a what look? Deserted look. It was clean, so they maintained the cleanliness, but shabby like Wanda's blue dress. So she compares the shabbiness to Wanda's blue dress. Come on, let's continue. They turned slowly and made their way back down the hill. Well, anyway, said Peggy, she's gone now. So what can we do? Besides, when I was asking her about all her dresses, she probably was getting good ideas for her drawings. She might not even have won the contest otherwise. Maddie turned this idea carefully over in her head, for if there were anything in it, she would not have to feel so badly. But that night she could not get to sleep. She thought about Wanda and her faded blue dress and the little house she had lived in. And she thought of the glowing picture those 100 dresses made, all lined up in the classroom. At last Maddie sat up in bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hands and really thought. This was the hardest thinking she had ever done. After a long, long time, she reached an important conclusion. So, yeah, we study that while returning, she said that perhaps her asking questions about what Wanda's dresses had given her ideas for a drawing. Are you following my explanation, dear students? So, she might not have even won the contest. So, here justification is taking place. Maddie could not sleep that night. She was thinking about Wanda, her house, and her beautiful drawings, and Peggy's idea. What was her idea? Peggy's idea about them, which she thought was unfair. So, Peggy felt that she never made fun of her as foreigner or made fun of her. So, this idea about them, about Peggy's idea about them, which she thought was unfair. She could not make amends for hurting Wanda, but she took a resolve. She took a decision. So, Peggy said that if she had not asked Wanda about all her dresses, she would have no ideas for her drawings. She might not have won the contest either. So, here finally Maddie resolves. Maddie takes a firm decision. Maddie thought about Wanda, blue dress, and the little house she had lived in. So she reached an important conclusion. So, what is it? She was never going to stand by and say nothing again. If she ever heard anybody picking on someone because they were funny looking or because they had strange names, she would speak up, even if it meant losing Peggy's friendship. She had no way of making things right with Wanda, but from now on, she would never make anybody else that unhappy again. So she was not going to stand by and say nothing again. So Maddie takes a firm decision. Yes, she takes a decision never to stand by silently when anyone treated unkindly a person on account of his or her funny face or name. She would try never to make anybody unhappy again. So she was not going to stand by and say nothing again. She would never forgive anyone insulting others because they were funny looking or had strange names. She would stand up and speak up. She would oppose injustice, even if it meant losing Peggy's friendship. This is the greatest decision. This is how Maddie resolves. Come on, let's move on. So, the students, it becomes, as we studied that, it becomes rather difficult for a poor immigrant like Wanda Petronsky to adjust herself in an environment which is not very conducive to her. Now, before we conclude, we shall recall what we studied in this episode. So, what we discussed here, Mr. Jan Petronsky's letter to Miss Mason. Here, Mr. Petronsky writes a letter that stating that Wanda would not come to the school anymore. This was because they were moving to a big city. He further said that Wanda would no more be called Pollock by her classmates and teased by them. Then there would be no one to ask about the funny names, as there would be plenty of funny names in the big city. Then further we studied. In fact, Miss Mason was unhappy and upset with the class. She confidently said that nobody in the class would purposely and deliberately hurt anyone's feelings. So, yeah, we also studied after listening to the note from Wanda's father, what? Maddie felt guilty as she had not objected Peggy. So Maddie wanted to find Wanda Petronsky and tell her what? That she never meant to hurt her. So she, along with Peggy, planned to go to Boggins Heights to find Wanda. And yeah, Peggy thought of excuses and consoles herself. She justifies her actions. So she finds excuses by saying that at least she did not make fun of her name or call her a foreigner. And we also studied that they finally reached Wanda's house, the little white house of Wanda and its past little yard looked shabby but clean. This reminded Maddie of Wanda's blue cotton dress that was faded and shabby but clean. So, yeah, further she comes to the important decision. Oh, Maddie comes to the important decision that if she ever hears anybody picking on someone because they are funny looking or because they have strange name, she will speak up. She is ready to lose Peggy's friendship in such a case. So, dear students, in this first part, we studied that it becomes rather difficult for a poor immigrant like Wanda Petronsky to adjust herself in an environment which is not very conducive to her. However, Wanda rises, this is very important, she rises above all these petty considerations. So, dear students, let's wind up with the first part. We shall continue the second part of this story in the next video. Thank you.